My name is Elena, and for 27 years I thought I had the kind of sisterly bond people envy. My older sister, Vanessa, was my best friend, my protector, and my biggest cheerleader. We grew up in a close-knit family in Savannah, Georgia, and even as adults we remained inseparable. Vanessa was 32, confident, and successful as a marketing executive. I was quieter, more artistic, working as a freelance photographer. We lived in the same city and saw each other almost every week. We had matching tattoos from our 21st birthdays, inside jokes that went back 20 years, and a bond I thought was unbreakable. Our parents had passed away when I was 19, and Vanessa stepped up in a big way. She helped me through college, co-signed my first apartment, and always introduced me as my baby sister with so much pride. I looked up to her. I trusted her completely. I was dating a wonderful man named Marcus, and life felt like it was finally falling into place. Vanessa was even helping me plan a small surprise party for Marcus's birthday. Everything felt warm, safe, and full of love. I had built my entire sense of identity around my family, especially my sister. She was my anchor, my role model, my person. I had no idea that the woman I loved most in the world had been hiding a devastating secret for my entire life. A secret that would completely shatter who I thought I was. The first cracks in our perfect sisterly bond appeared so subtly I almost missed them. Vanessa started becoming strangely possessive about family documents and old photos. When I asked to borrow some childhood pictures for a photography project, she got unusually tense and said, "I'll find them for you later." She never did. Then there were the medical questions. Out of nowhere, Vanessa became obsessed with our family medical history. She kept asking me about blood types, allergies, and whether I had ever done a DNA test for ancestry purposes. When I laughed and asked why she was suddenly so interested, she brushed it off with, "Just curious about our roots, you know?" The most unsettling moment came during a late-night conversation. We were drinking wine on her balcony when she suddenly got serious and said, "Elena, no matter what happens, you'll always be my sister. Promise me you'll remember that." Her voice had an odd intensity that left me unsettled. I ignored the growing unease in my chest. I told myself Vanessa was just stressed from work. She had always been protective of me. This was probably just her way of showing she cared. But deep down, a quiet voice kept whispering that something was very wrong. What was my sister so afraid I might discover? The betrayal came on a rainy afternoon that started like any other. I was at Vanessa's apartment helping her organize old family albums when I accidentally knocked over a box. As I picked up the scattered papers, a sealed envelope fell out. It was addressed to Vanessa from a private DNA testing company, dated 6 months earlier. My hands trembled as I opened it. The results showed that Vanessa and I shared no biological relationship. 0%. She was not my sister. Before I could process what I was seeing, Vanessa walked into the room and froze. The look on her face told me everything. "Elena, put that down," she whispered, her voice shaking. But it was too late. The truth was already in my hands. Through tears, she finally confessed, "I'm not your real sister. Your mother had an affair. When you were born, my parents, who couldn't have more children, agreed to raise you as their own to protect the family image. I've known since we were teenagers. I was scared if you found out, you'd leave me." The woman I had called my sister for my entire life had been lying to me for decades. She had watched me grieve our parents, celebrated birthdays, and built an entire life around a lie. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Everything I thought I knew about my identity was fake. The weeks after that discovery were pure emotional devastation. I moved out of my apartment and stayed with a friend, because I couldn't bear to look at Vanessa. Every memory of our life together now felt tainted. The sisterly bond I cherished was built on a foundation of lies. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I would wake up in the middle of the night crying, questioning my entire existence. Who was I if I wasn't a Thompson? Who were my real parents? Why had everyone lied to me for so long? The self-doubt was crushing. I started wondering if anyone had ever truly loved me, or if I had been nothing more than a secret they all agreed to keep. Vanessa tried to reach out multiple times. She sent long messages about how she had always loved me like a real sister, but her words only made the pain worse. How could she claim to love me while hiding something so fundamental? I felt completely isolated. The family I thought I had was gone. I didn't know who I was anymore. In my darkest moments, I questioned whether my life had been one big lie. But even in that deep darkness, a small, angry voice inside me began to speak. I deserved the truth, and I was going to find it. I was lost in grief when I made the decision that changed everything. I took a DNA test. Not just for ancestry, I wanted the full picture. The results came back with a match that left me speechless. I had a biological sister. Her name was Claire. She was 31 years old and lived in Atlanta. When I reached out to her, the truth finally poured out. Claire told me that our mother had given me up for adoption when I was a newborn because she was young and unmarried. Vanessa's parents, the people I had called Grandma and Grandpa, had arranged a private adoption, but later presented me as their own child to avoid scandal. Vanessa had known the truth since she was 14. But the biggest shock came when Claire showed me old photos. My biological mother looked exactly like me. The woman I had mourned as my mother for years wasn't biologically related to me at all. The entire family identity I had built my life around was a carefully constructed lie. Vanessa hadn't just hidden the truth, she had actively participated in stealing my real identity from me. The pain was overwhelming, but for the first time I also felt clarity. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't unwanted. I had been lied to. And now I had the power to reclaim my truth. With my biological sister Claire by my side, I began to rebuild and to fight back. I hired a sharp lawyer who specialized in identity and inheritance cases. We gathered every piece of evidence, the DNA test, old adoption documents Claire helped locate, and records showing how Vanessa's family had concealed the truth for decades. My plan was smart, calculated, and legal. I wasn't going to scream or cause a scene. I was going to expose the lie publicly and take back what was rightfully mine, my identity and my peace of mind. While building the case, I focused on healing. I started therapy, reconnected with Claire, and began creating art that reflected my real story. Every brushstroke helped me reclaim my narrative. Claire became one of my strongest allies. She introduced me to other family members on our biological side, giving me a sense of belonging I had never truly felt before. I looked at an old photo of Vanessa and me and whispered, "You tried to erase who I really am. Now I'm going to show everyone the truth." The revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about exposure and justice. Vanessa thought she could bury the secret forever. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The family confrontation happened at our grandparents' old house, the place where all the lies had begun. I invited Vanessa under the pretense of finally talking things through. Claire and my lawyer were there as witnesses. When Vanessa arrived and saw everyone, her face went pale. I didn't waste time. I laid the DNA test results, adoption papers, and evidence on the table. Then I looked her in the eyes and said, "You didn't just lie to me. You stole my identity. You let me believe I was someone I wasn't for my entire life. Why?" Vanessa broke down crying. She admitted everything, how her parents had convinced her it was better for the family image, how she was terrified of losing me if I knew the truth, and how she had gone along with the deception for years, but it was too late for apologies. I told her calmly, "You didn't protect me. You erased me. And now everyone knows the truth." Claire stood beside me as we presented the full story. The extended family was stunned. Some were angry at Vanessa and her parents for the decades of lies. Others were heartbroken for me. Vanessa left the house in tears, knowing her secret was finally exposed to everyone who mattered. For the first time in months, I felt free. The truth was out, and I was no longer living a lie. The months following the confrontation brought a profound sense of peace and self-discovery. I legally changed my last name to my biological mother's maiden name. It was a small but powerful act of reclaiming my identity. I built a beautiful relationship with Claire and my biological family. For the first time, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. Vanessa tried to reach out several times, sending long messages about how she had always loved me. I eventually replied once, telling her that love doesn't hide someone's truth for 30 years. I wished her well, but made it clear our relationship was over. I threw myself into my photography with renewed passion. My work started gaining attention, and I even had my first solo exhibition, a series called Hidden Truths, that explored identity, family, and resilience. I'm dating again, slowly. This time I choose honesty and emotional safety above everything else. I've learned to trust my instincts and value my own voice. Most importantly, I've made peace with my past. I forgave my grandparents for their mistakes. As for Vanessa, I've chosen to let go of the anger. She no longer has power over my happiness. I finally know who I am. The greatest lesson I learned from this painful journey is this: your identity is not what others tell you it is. It is what you discover and choose for yourself. Vanessa tried to bury the truth to protect her perfect image. But secrets have a way of coming to light. The DNA test didn't just expose her lie, it gave me the freedom to become who I was always meant to be. To anyone living with secrets, lies, or a stolen sense of self, you deserve the truth. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts, because on the other side of betrayal is the chance to build a life that's authentically yours. I lost the sister I thought I had, but I found the woman I was always meant to be, and that is the greatest revenge of all.